Have you ever listened to a song from a musical or a movie musical and asked, why is that person's voice wavering or moving so much while they hit that note? I know I have early in my singing journey, and it leads me to our topic for today. What do we know about vibrato? Welcome to the Voice Science Podcast, where we dive into the science behind all things singing and teaching. Here, you'll learn how the voice works and discover practical tips to train it more efficiently. I'm Drew, and I'll be your guide for this episode about vibrato. If you have questions about this episode or questions about the voice and singing in general, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us on our website at voicescience.org/contact. We'll reach back out with an answer your question in a future episode, or both. So what is it? To the average music listener, presence of vibrato in the voice or played on an instrument communicates warmth, richness, and emotional depth. The sound appears to flutter, tremble, or shimmer. According to John Nix, university voice professor and voice science researcher, vibrato is the periodic oscillation or variation of the fundamental frequency, otherwise known as pitch, and its harmonics, as well as the oscillation of amplitude, otherwise known as volume. How we measure it. The pitch variation component of vibrato is identified by its rate, the speed of the oscillations per second measured in hertz, and by its extent, the distance above and below the central pitch measured in cents. Not cents as in pennies, but cents that measure the frequency fluctuation. 100 cents is equal to a half step, with 50 cents equivalent to a quarter step. Culturally in the West, a good vibrato is defined as having a rate of 5 to 7 hertz, with an extent of plus or minus 50 cents. If the vibrato is slower and wider, it is considered a wobble. If faster and narrower, it's a bleat or flutter. What causes it? The definitive cause of vibrato in the voice remains a mystery to voice scientists. There are numerous theories floating around. Most of them fix their starting point with the neuromuscular behaviors common in the human body, known as physiological tremors. These involuntary rhythmic movements, present in all healthy individuals, exhibit as fine, rapid oscillations, often located in the hands, fingers, head, and the voice. The causes of these physiological tremors is normal muscle use, stress or anxiety, caffeine or nicotine use, and certain medications, just to name a few. Simply put, these kinds of physiological tremors are part of being human. Have you ever witnessed someone shaking in anger or fear? Or maybe acting jittery in a state of worry or nervousness? Are you a person who is prone to unconscious teeth grinding? What about someone's voice trembling when experiencing intense sorrow or joy? Or the impassioned public speaker's voice as they reach the climax of their address? Clearly, the human voice can become tremulous due to an elevation in both rate and extent. Hey singers, if you're loving these dives into voice science and want a step-by-step way to apply it to your singing, I've got something exciting for you. Voci Academy is launching soon, an online space where you can get expert guidance, interactive exercises, and clear pathways to improve your voice. Want to be the first to know when we go live? Join the waitlist now at voicescience.org. See you inside. As it relates to the singing voice, the renowned voice scientist Ingo Titze believes that a reflex mechanism with a long latency, i.e. delay, is implicated as a possible cause for vocal vibrato. This theory, also known as the Reflex Resonance Model of vocal vibrato, suggests that vibrato occurs due to the behavior of muscles responsible for the length and tension of the true vocal folds, namely the cricothyroid and thyroaretinoid muscles. The oscillating one hears is the result of a kind of muscular call and response where one muscle contracts while the other responds by relaxing, creating a feedback loop in which each muscle seeks to correct the action of the other muscle. To illustrate this, recall if you have ever overheard someone tuning a stringed instrument. One technique you will notice is intentional pulling of the pitch of the string above and back to the center, and or below and back to center of pitch. In a similar way, the cricothyroid and thyroidretinoid muscles are engaged in a cyclical game of correcting the pitch back to center. Professor Nix suggests that a singer learns how to take the naturally occurring feedback loop, the reflex resonance model of vocal vibrato, and entrain with it. If you are not familiar with this word from the world of biology, to entrain is defined as the ability to fall gradually into synchrony with a rhythm or something that varies rhythmically. With practice, singers become consciously able to regulate and monitor their vibrato. How to find vibrato. It has long been the consensus in the voice teaching universe that vibrato will reveal itself when a singer's vocal production is well coordinated, therefore well balanced, meaning not overproduced, particularly at the true vocal fold level where the cricothyroid and retinoid muscles reside. As the reflex resonance model of vocal vibrato stands as the most viable explanation for the presence of vibrato, it is essential that the muscles responsible for creating the feedback loop move without any undue suppression of their activity. As simplistic as this illustration is, it will serve to make the point. Hold out one hand, palm down, and rotate it side to side until it starts to tremble. Now, place your tremoring hand down on a flat surface. Doing so will stop or substantially reduce the oscillating motion. If it does not, place your other hand on top of the hand on the surface. At this point, all motion should be suppressed. Likewise, if the function of the true vocal folds is being constrained, the presence of vibrato will likely remain hidden. So the best approach to finding and using vibrato is to build a solid vocal technique under the guidance of a knowledgeable voice trainer. Until then, there is no shortage of free advice available on the internet courtesy of a plethora of vocal coaches selling their services and merchandise. By far, the least beneficial advice I have found is sustain a pitch while shaking your hands in front of you. As silly as this sounds, it may have the benefit of loosening a body filled with tension, but it should not be confused as a serious suggestion for allowing vibrato to emerge. Another piece of advice is just do an imitation of an opera singer with a big vibrato. Again, other than a bit of silliness, I question how this act of imitation is guiding a singer towards a well-balanced sound that will allow the vibrato to reveal itself. Some vocal coaches do recommend abdominal respiratory pulsating as a gateway. This approach requires rapid abdominal muscle contractions causing subglottic air pressure to change the fundamental pitch. The main problem with this approach is it remains a substitute for the reflex resonance model discussed earlier. Returning to the premise that the best approach is securing a well-balanced vocal production, some of the better internet vocal coaches suggest vocal agility exercises as a pathway to unearthing the vibrato already residing but hidden. Examples of these types of flexibility exercises contain elements such as pitch bending, half-step and whole-step trills, staccato laughing, hee hee hee, running passages of notes followed by a sustained pitch, the place where vibrato can begin to appear. As required for success, these exercises require a thinner true vocal fold mass, which yields a light and softer quality of sound, perfect for any singer who habitually sings heavy and loud, with the result being frustration because vibrato is difficult if not impossible to find. These types of exercises can be key to finding the well-balanced vocal production you've been seeking all along. To recap, vibrato is a naturally occurring phenomenon as a result of the reflex resonance model of vocal vibrato. It is not just for some, it is available to all singers. The goal of any singer is to develop a well-balanced vocal production which will allow them to discover the vibrato in their voice and learn how to entrain with it. Thanks for tuning into the Voice Science Podcast. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe and share it with other singers and teachers. And if you're ready to take your vibrato to the next level, check out voicescience.org, where we have thousands of curated audio exercises to help you train effectively. Until next time, happy singing.